Hey guys, welcome to the Scholar Online YouTube channel, the channel that is all about learning. So today I'm so excited to finally build my real-time API application right here on Scholar Online. And coincidentally, it is coinciding with 14,000 subscribers. Remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so that you are notified every time that we release a new video on this channel, which is generally once a week on a Saturday or a Sunday. So let's get into what we're going to be building today, all right? I'm going to run the application that we're going to be building. After I run the application, I'm going to open the browser where the application is running from. Hello? Hello?
Hello, how's it going? What can I do for you today?
How are you doing? How is it going for you? My name is Bertha, and what can I call you?
Hi, Bertha. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. You can just call me Assistant. How can I help you today?
Hi, assistant. I've been looking to learn some Chinese. So I want you to help me guide me through talking Chinese. So let's just get started from right at the beginning. I want to get the pronunciations, I want to get the important words. I'm planning to travel to Shanghai sometime this year. So, yeah, so let's start our lessons and remember what we've learned as time goes.
That sounds like a fantastic plan, Bertha. Learning Chinese will definitely come in handy for your trip to Shanghai. Let's start with some basics. Pronunciation. Mandarin is a tonal language, so the meaning of a word can change depending on the tone used. There are 4 main tones in Mandarin. Important words. Learning basic greetings and phrases can be really helpful. Here are a few to get started. 你好, hello. 再见, goodbye. 谢谢, thank you. 对不起, excuse me, or I'm sorry. 请, please. Would you like to focus on pronunciation or go deeper into some useful phrases?
你好吗?
Great job. 你好 means hello. And 你好吗 means how are you? To respond, you can say 我很好,谢谢, which means I'm good, thank you. Keep practicing the pronunciation. 你好吗? 我很好,谢谢. Would you like to know how to say more greetings or anything else?
So this is the API that we're going to be using here today. I'm going to link this in the description of the video that you're watching here today. And I'm going to take you through the steps that's required for you to build, for us to build what we're building, all right? It's very, very simple, all right? So OpenAI has made the code available, which works off your browser. So this is going to be client-side code that we're going to write in the HTML, JavaScript part of our application. And I'm basically just going to copy and paste what is in here. Of course, I'm going to adjust a few places and I'll show you what I'm going to adjust because I sort of want to make the application lively. This just shows you the JavaScript without showing you how to integrate the JavaScript into the rest of your page, okay? Then there is another snippet of the code which is written for Express, which sort of what this code does here, and I will explain also in a little bit detail when we rewrite it for Flask, is that you are able to use your actual OpenAI API key to obtain what they call a key that's gonna go in here. I think they call it an ephemeral key, all right? I'm not sure if I'm spelling it correctly, but basically you're going to exchange your real API key for another sort of API key that somehow is a little bit more safer to use on the browser side, because this key is going to be exposed on the browser side of your application, which means people can see it, they can read it, but this is going to be safer than actually copying and pasting your actual key on your browser. So this is, I'll show you exactly how to do that. As usual, I have written all the steps inside of our GitHub repo, which I'm also going to link in the description of the video that you're watching, as I normally do. All right, so by the time I link this, I'm gonna try and also paste the video here. So very, very simply, just get yourself a Python environment. I think you need Python 3.9 upwards, but I think for this case, it doesn't matter because the Python side is really just building the Flask. We're not going to use OpenAI on the Python side. We're using OpenAI on the client side. So basically, I think any Python version will work because Flask works with pretty much any Python version. So let's create our virtual environment just so we can write all our libraries in there. This just creates a place that you can work from. So if I open this up, I can see the environment I just created there. Once you created that, we're going to just activate that environment. And then once you activated it, you'll see it on the edge of your command line, and from there you're gonna just install Flask and HTTPX. Honestly, this is simple on the Python side, and the only reason why we're doing this this way is so we can run that function that exchanges the API key for the key that can go into the front end. Otherwise, you only needed to actually display your HTML really. So with that, I'm going to show you the Flask side, all right? So this is the code that we're going to write, and I got this straight from the documentation. So this is basically what's on the documentation, but this is obviously written for Node. So if you're working with Node, you can just use what's here. But if you want to follow along with me on Flask, you can use what I'm going to show you. It's the same code. What it does is that it gets your OpenAI API key. This is now your secret key that you should not expose on the client side. And then it if it doesn't find it, it just throws an error. And after it finds it, it makes an HTTP call to this URL. All right, so it's a real-time sessions URL to create a session, and then you enter your OpenAI API key there, and you get the content type, and then you send the GPT or real-time preview. This is the code this is the model of the code that we're going to use, and that's pretty much it. And then you tell it sort of the voice that you want to work with. So maybe we can adjust this a little bit. So this is very, very straightforward. This is the model, and you can see there's actually lots of available models, and I would recommend you look at all the different model types and check the prices, because the real-time API tends to be quite pricey. I once was playing with it for a day, and when I looked at my bill, I nearly fell off my chair. So just be very careful with this, and I recommend that you go into if you just search for OpenAI pricing, you will find this page, and go here and just have a look at how much they're charging. So this is 4.0. This is just the normal chat completions model. Then you get the 4.0 mini, which is slightly cheaper than that. So if you look at the 4.0 pricing, is about $2.5 for GPT 4.0, but if you look at the 4.0 mini, is almost a quarter of that at 0.1. So I always use mini unless if it really can't do the task. Then you get the thinking models at a way more expensive than the mini, than the 4.0, and but you also get the mini one, which is a little bit cheaper. You get the embedding models, the fine-tuning models. Just scroll down until you reach the real-time API. So you can see the preview model is at $5 for a million input tokens, which is a little almost like the GPT-4 sort of range, and which is expensive. But yesterday I got a mail. This is actually why I was encouraged to do this video, that they released the 4.0 mini real-time preview. Right, and this one, let me see. It has audio as well, so this is $10 for the audio. Okay, so this is the text version. The audio is $100. Can you see the difference? So this can get quite pricey. So I'm going to go with the mini. All right, so I'm going to replace everywhere where I see. I'm just going to keep this open. Everywhere where I specify the model, I'm going to work with the mini, because it's around $10 as opposed to $100 for the other one. So it's like a tenth of the price. And the mini preview is also just $10. So just keep that in mind. It's very, very important, especially when you're playing with this and you don't want to be shocked by a bill at the end of the day. So for our Flask application, this is really, really simple. Honestly, we just need an index file, and then we need an app.py file. All right. Did I do my pip installations? Can't remember. Yes, I've done my pip installations. So let me create my files, touch app.py, and then I'm gonna mkdir template and cd templates, and then I'm gonna attach index.py, and I'm gonna cd out of that, and I've done my stuff, right? So inside of the app.py, we're going to paste the code that I've already put on GitHub. If you go to GitHub, this is just showing you the function, how simple it is. The code itself, obviously with Flask, you have to initiate the Flask application. And we're just going to do it very simply without worrying about secret keys and all of those things. And the first root, which is the home root, which is a slash root, is just going to go into render the index.html template, which is going to be inside of our templates folder. And we will have another root called session. So inside of this index.html, we call this sessions endpoint, and in the sessions endpoint, we call the OpenAI to give us that key that I was telling you about, the key that we're going to use on the front end. That's what it returns, and we're printing it here to see. I was just doing this for debugging. You don't have to print it out, because I was having issues initially when I was trying to run this. I wasn't sure what was coming back and the format and all of that. But anyway, I will paste all of this here. Let me just close this in the meantime, and I'll just show you. I'm running this on port 18118. You can run it any port that you like. Just make sure if you're on a virtual server with firewalls, you have opened the port. Then I'm going to not print the data. This is not necessary. You don't have to print that. The OpenAI API key, I'm going to do something different here. Instead of getting it off the environment, I'm just going to enter it manually. So I'm going to go into my API keys, and I'm just going to get a key that I've created, and I'm going to put that key in there, which I'm going to delete when I'm done. So I'm going to change a few things there. Otherwise, you can put it in your environment variable and do it the way the code was before. And then the model, I'm going to change the model. From that model, I'm going to use, where's those models? I'm going to use the 4.0 mini real-time preview. So this is 4.4 real-time, and then the mini version of this, okay, which is way cheaper than this one. So let's do that. And then the voice, you have different voices to work with. That's another thing. I'm just going to try and find where the voices are. So I think it's under audio generation. Let me open it in a new tab. And you can play around with the voices and see the voice that you like. So you have Alloy, you have, where are the list of voices? You can research this and try, and you can replace the voice with a voice that makes sense to you. But I'm gonna, maybe let me just stick with the voice that was in the code, because it'll take me a while to try and look for different voices. And yeah, I mean, you have questions about this, put it in the description of the video that you're watching, and I will try and get to answering the question. But if you're familiar with Flask, this is very straightforward code. So let's have a look at the index.html file and what needs to go in there. So basically, we're just going to build a very basic page with a bootstrap. So we're not going to even try and build HTML and CSS in here. If you look at I've got my code in there. So I'm going to scroll up, and this is it. All right. So I'm going to copy it at the top, and I'll just explain to you what's in here. I'm going to paste that in there, paste that. So you'll see at the top there. So this is index. Let me rename that to index.html. Okay, that's much better. So this is a real-time voice app with WebRTC. Let me call this Scolo WebRTC. And you can see we are importing the Bootstrap CSS at the top for styling. And we've built our own custom visualizer. This is the visualizer of the voice, because I think it sort of helps in voice applications for a user to see something, on the screen. So we've just styled it like that. You can style it any way you like, and we're just going to call this again Scolo voice real-time. I'm gonna maybe try and find some emojis over here. Emoji with big eyes. Let's copy that one there and put a delicious emoji at the beginning there, and another one there. And local input blue. Local input is going to be my voice, and then the remote audio is a visualization. So this, let's give our agent a name. What are they called here? Let's give them verse. So let's call this agent verse. Agent verse, and we can give them a face if you like. Let me try and look for a technologist. Technologist, And let's try and find a man and like a man behind the screen over there. And that's me. All right, so that's me talking. And let's try and find a woman here, because I'm a woman. So I want to give some flavor into this application a little bit. And let's put that woman there and say that's me. And then that's the agent verse. And then we've got the function. So this function, I'll be honest, I pretty much copied and pasted it from here. But of course, it's not exactly as it's in here. I had to modify it a little bit to fit my application, because I added the visualizers in here. And of course, I fitted it into a Bootstrap application. So that's why it helps to watch videos like this on YouTube, because sometimes, especially when you're a new dev and you see this, and then you still have to figure out, now, how am I going to now integrate this into an actual application, right? So I'll take you through what we've done here. The first thing is this first section over here, which is what you see at the beginning. So this is the section here. All this is doing is calling the server at the back, and it's getting that ephemeral whatever key, the key that we're getting via the server. So you can see it's fetching this URL, and then it's waiting for that response, JSON of that response. And then it is it will log it over there, but we don't need to log it, because it just sets it there as the token data, and then this key then gets used later on in the application. You'll see when you now send the fetch call to the base URL, which is OpenAI real-time API, and you select your model over there. We're gonna change this model as well to work with this model that that is a little bit cheaper. So we're gonna update the model as well there. Just remember to do that. So it changes that, it sends this URL to this URL, and it sends it with the model, and it's a post request, and the body is that body, and it's an application SDP. Okay, so this is like the voice. So basically, and then it uses that key as the bearer. But if you use your actual API key, that will also work. So according to the documentation, is that you can actually just use your API key if you struggle to build a backend server. But maybe if you're running this locally on your machine and you're not worried that anybody will steal your code, you could actually eliminate all of this and just put your key here. So here where it says ephemeral key, you could just put the actual API key. That will also work. So if you struggle to get this session to work, just do that for testing purposes, but you must never ever do that in production, because anybody can see this key from the JavaScript and then use up your API credits or whatever. All right. And the rest of the code is really just the streaming, okay, so this one gets the media devices of the machine, of the browser, and it just records the voice, and it processes the voice, and it logs here that created and set local description over there, and then it sends that voice over there, and then if it receives an answer, it awaits for the answer, right? Let me see. Get the SDP answer and set it as a remote description. Yes, okay. Now our visualizers are over here, all right? So the visualizers you'll see are those sort of like that sort of helps the user visualize something happening on the page. This is totally optional. You don't have to add the visualizer. You'll see I've got two visualizers. I've got the blue one, which is visualizing your own voice when you're talking. It's the start local visualizer. Okay, and it's the local visualizer. So on the HTML, you will see it fits in the local visualizer, right? And it's a canvas, so it gets painted in there. The backend visualizer visualizes the voice of the AI. So just like, I'm not gonna go through the details of this. It'll work. I've tested it, so just copy and paste it and use it if you want to integrate the visualizers into your code. And that's pretty much it, okay? So we can already start running this. Let's check. We've installed everything that we need. We've got our app.py. You can go into your command line over there. Let's just clear this, and let's say Python app.py, and you'll see it runs on. This is my what you call it. This is my IP address. So because I'm running this on a virtual server, I should be able to just go to my IP address 8116 and do that. But you can see when you get here, you don't see anything. You see the web itself, it's there. But if you look into if you inspect this and go into the console, you will see that you could not get user media. So you couldn't initialize the WebRTC because of get user media. So this is what I was telling you about. So we're running this on an insecure front, which means it's not on HTTPS, it's on HTTP, but we have to do that because we are testing an application, we're in development mode. But the browser is protecting you from, it's protecting you from yourself basically. And so we can overcome this and get through this by telling the browser that it's okay, you can allow this because I'm just testing. So for us to do that, I've put a command in the GitHub at the bottom there. So just go and you'll see it's like it allows unsafe, and this works for Mac OS. So if you're not on Mac, like you're on Windows or on another machine, just maybe take this command and put it inside of ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to rewrite it in your own, So I'm going to go and I'm going to try and get a terminal open. Oh, there's a terminal there, but let me exit this because I don't want to run it off here. I'm just going to clear that, and then I'm going to run that. So application Google Chrome. So basically what this does, that it goes to your Google application and it tells it that you can allow this origin of 102.218.215. You can treat it as secure. All right. So when you do that, it's like, okay, so I can treat this as secure. Then it opens you a new browser where that browser has been set with, you can allow for that HTML and then treat it as secure. So that's the browser that we will use instead of the browser that we were using. So let's rerun this again on this browser now. If we run this again on this browser now, you should be able to, let's just check this. There we go. So the web is working now, and you can see it's visualizing my voice as I'm talking. But because the RTC has been activated, the agent actually is going to wait for me to finish talking so that they can also talk.
It sounds like you're working with a system that has both voice recognition and real-time text visualization. The system is set up to wait for you to finish speaking before processing and reacting to your input. This can allow for a smoother interaction, since it ensures that the system captures your complete message before it responds. Is there something specific you'd like to do or know about this setup?
Not really. Let's just start from scratch. So my name is Bertha. What's your name?
Nice to meet you, Bertha. I'm here to help with any questions or information you need. What would you like to talk about or explore today?
Yo, you're so funny. I don't know. I just want to talk about the weather. I'm thinking of going for a swim. I'm sitting out here in Rustenburg. What do you suggest? Does the weather look like I could do something like that today?
For a swim in Rustenburg today, you'd want to check the current weather conditions there. Generally, Rustenburg is warm and sunny, especially around this time of year. You might expect temperatures in the mid-20s to low 30s degrees Celsius. However, for the most accurate, up-to-date forecast, I'd recommend checking a local weather service or app. That way, you can be sure the weather is perfect for a swim.
Awesome.
I'm glad you found the information helpful. Enjoy your day and have a great swim if you decide to go for it. If you have any more questions or need assistance with anything else, just let me know.
Okay, so I have to basically stop this and actually restart this, or else the WebRTC connection remains open even after you've closed it over here. The way we've built it is that there's no button to press to say I'm talking now. It's sort of like the way the app works. You just sort of talk and it responds, and it's really amazing. So what amazing things are you going to build with this? I'd like for you to let me know. Please hit me up with your comments in the description below, and I suppose I will see you again next week.